Greetings, everyone. I am Pete Pardo from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of Ranking the Albums. Today, we're going to take a look by popular demand, finally getting around to them. The great Swedish extreme metal band Carcass. Of course, Carcass from the UK got their start as kind of like a gore grind band and then developed into one of the finest kind of technical melodic death metal acts. A lot of thrash influence in their music as well that we've seen. They've been around since the late 80s. Not a lot of albums, right? They've had their bouts of inactivity over the years, but we've had them back for a number of years, even though like they haven't released a lot of albums. But a great band, great guitar work. Again, you got to love this sort of thing, right? But if you're into ferocious death metal with razor sharp guitar riffs and solos, a lot of great solos, and like especially the latter part of their catalog, more technical in nature. The early part, a lot of like fast grind type extreme metal, right? If you're into that sort of thing with lyrics about all sorts of disgusting and horrific things, right? That's what they do. But of course, currently in the band, we've got Bill Steer on guitars, backing vocals, Jeff Walker on bass, lead vocals, Daniel Wilding on drums, and James Blackford on guitar, on second guitar, right? Of course, formerly in the band, we've got folks like Ken Owens on drums, Michael Amott on guitars. Of course, Michael Amott also gone to Spiritual Beggars and, of course, Arch Enemy. Carlo Regades on guitar. Sanjeev Sumner lead vocals for a very short period of time before early on their period. And then, of course, various folks who have helped them out on the live circuit. So we've got seven albums, of which I'm going to be ranking them in the order that I like them. All right. I enjoy most of this catalog quite a bit. A couple albums, maybe not quite as much, but we'll get to that, right? So I'm going to start with my number seven. I'm going to work my way back to number one. All right, my number seven. Let's bring the vision of the image up here. So I'm going to go with their debut album from 1988, Reek of Putrefaction. Look at that cover, right? All sorts of nasty bits on there, right? Earache Records. Believe this was mostly self-titled, self-produced by the band. Basically, this album is in the gore grind style. You got like 20 songs on here, manic, rapid fire tracks, most of them brief, a minute, 2 minutes tops, pummeling drums, manic riffing, gurgling death metal growls, if you want to call them growls. The production is raw. The drums sound like shit. The guitars are way low in the mix. The vocals are too high in the mix. Like I said, most of these songs are like 1 to 2 minutes long. They're over before you know it. You got song titles like Excreted Alive, Genital Grinder, Vomited Anal Tract, Burnt to a Crisp, and many, many more. I've personally never been a fan of like grind metal or specifically gore grind. So to me, this album does very little for me. I didn't start getting into Carcass till later on, and I this wouldn't have interested me at all much then. It doesn't really interest me all that much now. I know a lot of people love this album. They consider this a highly influential album in extreme metal. Um, doesn't really do a lot for me. So this is recorded with the original trio, right? So this is Ken Owen, Jeff Walker, and Bill Steer on this original album. So that's going to be my number seven. My number six, I'm going to go with Symphonies of Sickness, their second album, also on Earache Records. This is the first album produced by Colin Richardson, who has worked with lots of other metal bands. He has a long history working with Carcass. This is the first album he produced with them. You can tell right off the bat there's a difference in production for the better. There are still elements of the kind of crazy gore grind from the first album. However, the band is starting to dip into more of what we know as traditional death metal here. So this is 1989, right? So death metal is still really early. You've got Morbid Angel and Death and, a couple other bands, but death metal as we know it, just really still in its formation. But these guys are Carcass is ready to dive right in here. Most of the songs are like your standard 3 to 5 minutes long. Reek of Putrefaction, crushing opener, not on the album before it, oddly enough. It's got slower riffs, definitely slower than what we heard on the debut, mixed in with some blazing fast stuff. all throughout the album. Exhumed to Consume, brutal, awesome riffs. Ruptured in Purulence actually is kind of groovy in spots, oddly enough. But it's also pretty, it's pretty punishing at other times. Crepitating Bowel Erosion, absolutely massive. The riffs are enormous. I love when this band slows things down a little bit, especially early on in the catalog, because all the manic, crazy, fast stuff for me, after a while, just like kind of grates on me. And that style doesn't really interest me all that much. I think this is a good album. I think you can definitely see where they were going, and this is the last album with the original trio, right? So. Good album. Comes in at number six. Number five, I'm going to go with their most recent album, Torn Arteries. Seventh album. They're on Nuclear Blast by this point in time. They moved away from Earache Records 2 albums ago. So same lineup as on Surgical Steel, which I'll get to in a few minutes. Title track, neck snapping goodness. So good. Dance of Ix Tob's got some killer riffs. Absolutely evil vocals from Jeff Walker. Blazing Eleanor Rigor Mortis. Instead of Eleanor Rigby, we got Eleanor Rigor Mortis. You got Under the Scalpel Blade, which is totally bludgeoning. The Devil Rides Out, rips from start to finish. The riffs are so memorable. Flesh Ripping Sonic Torture Limited is the big, like, 10-minute epic here. So good. What a collection of killer riffs and just absolutely insane drumming. Really good. Love this track. Wake Up and Smell the Carcass, very cool as well. Perhaps it's not as classic as the previous album, which we'll get to in a bit, but it's actually quite strong. The front cover is kind of boring, I guess, but whatever. So that's my number five. Number four, we're going to go to an album called Swan Song. Always kind of dug that album cover. It's kind of different for them, but it's kind of cool. So this is their fourth album, Earache Records, Colin Richardson once again producing. Carlo Regatas joins briefly on second guitar, replacing Michael Amott. And after this album, the band basically disappears afterwards, doesn't do another album for 17 years. So kind of Swan Song kind of makes a lot of sense, right? The title. This is more in a kind of like groovy death metal style. Maybe you call this Death and Roll, right? Which you can hear right off the bat on Keep on Rotting in the Free World. Again, Keep on Rocking the Free World by Neil Young, Keep on Rotting in the Free World. Tomorrow Belongs to Nobody is a ripper. You got big metallic riffing, more straightforward drumming. Really catchy song. Really like that a lot. Black Star kind of has this kind of thump and groove heaviness of like Pantera. Good song. The riffing is enormous. Cross My Heart Crushes. Child's Play is more straightforward metal track, but I like it. Room 101, another mid-pace kind of crunchy track. Good stuff. Polarized, Firm Hand, all razor sharp kind of crushing metal tracks. Excellent kind of ragged, jagged vocals from Walker. Plenty of thrashy groove. It's a strong album. If this was going to be their finale, it's a great way to go out. But as it turns out, not their last album, right? But a really, really good one, but a little different. This one is, I think the first album and this album are probably the most different in the catalog. This is more of kind of like a groovy death metal style, whereas that first album was total gore grind. So pretty cool, though. Number three, I'm going to go with their huge comeback album, which of course is Surgical Steel from 2013. Sixth album, Nuclear Blast Records. First album for Nuclear Blast. Colin Richardson producing. First album in 17 years. Bill Steer, Jeffrey Walker, Daniel Weiling on drums. One of the great comeback albums in metal history, specific and certainly in extreme metal history. Um, Thrasher's Abattoir, completely manic, lethal. Riffs are great. Production is amazing on this album. Steer's guitar work on Cadaver Pouch Conveyor System is so tight and precise. You got the crushing, a congealed cloud of blood. I mean, listen to those kind of just absolutely ripping leads and fast tremolo picked riffs on non-compliance. Just so good. And then like total grooviness on the granulating dark satanic mills. Love these song titles. Unfit for Human Consumption, another great song. Again, I got to stress the production on this album is just completely awesome, especially the guitars, which sound razor sharp and completely lethal. I remember when everybody was talking about this album when it came out. All of us, like serious metalheads who were into extreme metal, were like, "Oh my God, this is one of the great comebacks ever." It's such a great sounding, kick-ass sounding album. And then you got the big epic track, Mount of Execution, which is 8+ minutes of just thrashy melodic death metal. Probably my favorite track on the album, or at least one of it. And Jeff's vocals are just raspy and ragged and just, he's by this point in time, he's doing all the lead vocals. He sounds great. Really great album. Really, really great album. Probably would be higher if it wasn't for my top two. My number two is going to be what many people cite as their greatest album. I think it's pretty damn close. From 1991, Necroticism, Descanting the Insalubrious. Third album, Earache Records, Colin Richardson once again producing. Michael Amott joins on lead guitar. And all of a sudden, like the uptick in quality and sophistication is here. The band sounds more refined on this album. Music is taking on more of a thrashy, technical death metal style, especially in the guitar soloing. I mean, Amat is killing on this album. There are just breathtaking guitar solos on this record. Um, Mr. Walker's his voice now is taking on more of like a Chuck Schuldiner type of extreme metal raspiness, which I think really works good. In impropagnation or impropagation. I can't even pronounce half these song titles. Incredible opener. Love the riffing and the soloing. 7+ minutes of just great extreme metal. Just so good. Corporate Jigsaw Quandary kicks total ass. Symposium of Seekness. Um, just some amazing riffery on that. So good. And Amat's solo is just so melodic and memorable. You got the Totally Brutal Pedigree Butchery. You got Carnious Cacophony, Total Masher. Again, I like when the band slows things down a little bit and they bring in these more crushing riffs and then throw in these just beautiful melodic guitar solos. Just so good. Lavaging Expectorate of Lysergide Composition. What? It's a killer tune, but what is up with that fucking title, right? I don't know. It's a death metal classic, this album, guys. It's really, really good. Necroticism, which I usually just call it that. Forget the whole discanting, the insalubrious, whatever. Necroticism. Number two. Could be number one. But number one is my number one because it's an absolutely immense album. And it is this classic called Heartwork from 1993, fourth album, Earache Records, again, Colin Richardson producing, last album with Michael Amott, H.R. Giger cover artwork. Look at it, you can tell right off the bat. I for years I didn't know that he worked on this, but now that you look at it, you're like, oh yeah, I could see that. This is considered a landmark of melodic technical death metal, and for a reason. There's also plenty of thrash on here as well. Buried Dreams, killer opener, guitars sound massive, the solos are blazing, and the track is like ultra memorable too. Carnal Forge, manic, ferocious. Bill Steer's riffing is killer here. Jeff's vocals, venomous. I mean, just so good. He's got this gravelly vocal thing going on, No Love Lost. So well done. Title track, technical, melodic, thrashy. The guitar riffs and the solos are just absolutely glorious. Embodiment, another great track. Love the production of the guitars here on this album too. Absolutely massive, massive. Drums are blasting away on this Mortal Coil. Another great track. The riffs are just absolutely majestic. Blind Bleeding the Blind. Another monstrous slice of just crushing extreme metal. And the riffing is great. The solos are so melodic and just gorgeous, right? It's metal, but man, it's just so, so well done. I think for me, so much of the framework of early Arch Enemy is right here on this album. You kind of can see where Michael wanted to go with Arch Enemy. So good. Absolutely classic album. So yeah, that's my pick for number one. Heartwork by Carcass. Like I said, followed by Necroticism, followed by Surgical Steel, followed by Swan Song, followed by Torn Arteries, and then we've got the first two Symphonies of Sickness and Last Week of Putrefaction. Right, that is my ranking for the Carcass albums. Let us know how you would rank these down in the comments below. Remember, there's no right or wrong answer. It's all depending on what we like and we turn the Prezi off. So thanks for watching this episode of Ranking the Albums. We'll be back here for more next week. Oh, but no, we'll be back here in just a little bit for more. We've got George Lemay and Stephen Reed are going to be ranking the albums of Living Color. So that's coming up in just a little bit. Don't miss that one. But we'll see you here next week for more. This is on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as a post. And please, please hit the like button before you leave. Also down below, the links to all the stuff to help out the channel, merch page, memberships, Cameo, all that good stuff down below. Thanks everybody for all your support. It's greatly appreciated. We'll see you soon here with more stuff. Apologize for the puppy bark. She's not happy. She's got the cone of shame on. She had her, what's the snip? Or he had his little guys taken off just yesterday. So we got him secluded downstairs away from everybody else, and he is not happy. So apologies for all the yipping and yapping, but not much I could do about it. So anyway, we'll see you soon here with more stuff. I am Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye bye.